shortly, and she will handle another part of the night. But for now, I hope that you can all bear with me as we have a good show. Before we start off everything, I would like to call on the UNAIDS Country Director, Mr. Girmay, Haile, to give us a few words. A round of applause for him, please.
Former First Lady, I think I will not finish the list if I go one by one, because I don't think there is anybody who is in any way less than that remarkable and respectable stage as all of you are here. When we started to plan for this, we said 2015 is a crossroads, 20 years down from Beijing. And then we are also ending the Millennium Development Goals. So we're starting a new set of development goals. The challenges are deep. And we said, so who do we really want to address at this particular point? And then we came up with the idea saying, well, actually a third generation is in the making after Beijing. We need to put the three generations under one roof together tonight. And we planned also for the whole month. Quite a number of other activities are planned. But this one takes a unique position, because to come together and then be addressed by a man on this Women's Day event, where we have brought in probably the 100 topmost women leaders and corporate executives. Of course, they too, like the men, have the tradition around time. So now this one thing I have proven, I used to think women are a lot more precise on time, but maybe I'm not totally correct. But I'm very impressed, Your Excellency, for coming here before almost everybody else, and also the former First Lady as well, who got here quite a good time. I think we are out to recognize this transitional period. I think those who first went to Beijing or picked up the rod from those who went to Beijing, you have produced a very impressive set of young women who are today executives of many corporates and also in leadership and decision making. And those who move and shape society as well through media, television, entertainment, and so on. And the other unique thing about tonight is the cross-section of people who are represented here. We did not pick on the normal, grand, politically astute and positioned women alone, but we said, let's go across what they produced. And they produced teachers, they produced caterers, they produced film producers, they produced actresses, they produced lawyers, they produced student leaders, they produced great TV personalities, and they produced all kinds of women. And this is the cross-section of that group. And I'm very happy that UNAIDS is associated with this great thing, but I also would like to thank the Ministry of Gender, and especially the minister in person, and all the other female ministers who are really supportive of this. But somehow when it came to today, they all had to fly out. Even Honorable Anita had to fly out, I think, this morning. So we didn't get the benefit of having them around us. But I'm also very grateful to some of the female ambassadors who accepted and have money to come, senior diplomats in town. But I think I should take this opportunity also to introduce to all of you that we do have a new United Nations resident coordinator in town in the form of my friend Christine. And we are now full again. And we do have also our other UN heads of agencies as well. Some are represented here. And I think we are still waiting for the students. I think there will be the great and interesting mix that will be coming into this very young students who are leaders at the university level. The film that we're going to watch today is produced by Shirley. I don't want to tell you much about the film, especially those who have not seen it. But I just want to tell you a little bit about its status. I first came across this before the film was made. I read the script, I was blown away. I said, wow. I looked at Shirley and I just couldn't stop looking at her forehead, just saying, what a brain. And sure enough, the film came out. It was really fantastic. So we took keen interest in this. We took it to Geneva, and at the Geneva level, it was viewed very critically, and they sent it to film assessors. These are big people who assess films in Hollywood and these big industries, and they said this is Class A film, and it is now officially endorsed by UNAIDS. This is the first of its kind to be endorsed by any UN agency. And we thought, who else but this very group should really be privileged to see it. It has not yet been out commercially. You cannot click on anything to see it. This is the only place you can come to see it for now. And I'd like to thank Shirley and Ken Atto for literally almost hijacking a plane to come from Nigeria to get here on time for us with this film. They were in Nigeria doing other work, so they had to rush in. And also to our partners, other than the Ministry of Gender, we have the Ministry of Justice, and we have the Ministry of Tourism, and the African Women Development Fund. I think they came out of Development Bank. That's a very good news. That means they have a lot of money. And MTN also, that has really become a very good and strategic partner, and Stanbic Bank, and all the others that have been in this thing with us. So I think we should allow you to go straight into the film so that we can also have an early dinner and be able to finish early. Sorry, we started about half an hour late. We were trying to fill up the chairs, but as I speak, more and more people are coming.
Haile, with your permission, I'd like us to go straight into the movie.
Because we're here. Together. We never thought we'd make it. No. For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
From this day forward till death do us part.
From this day forward till death do us part.
Say these words after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I be wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I be wed.
By the powers vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride.
Absolutely no hurry.
People, food, drinks, music, they're not bringing it back.
Well, I'm glad I have you all to myself now.
Dr. Nelson here. Do you have blood?
Blood for as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. That was something like that came from a very, very deep place. I wanted to write something that was real, and also for us ladies, something that we could sort of share and talk about. And I wanted it to be real I took it from the point of view of me and my friends. And sometimes it's easy to think that it's not possible for some of these things to happen to you, especially because, you know, we sort of enjoy a certain lifestyle. And so I wanted to bring the realism home. And I think one of my favorite characters in there is Haile's friend. I really enjoy writing about her because I think we all need friends like that. We really do. And lately, I've been needing a friend like that, so I'm sure you have to understand where I'm coming from. But then, Love or Something Like That also became what it is today because I met a certain man who sort of shed a lot more light on it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you put your hands together for Sir Girmay. He saw it and he was completely blown away, and he said, you know what, you've got something in there. And I was like, really? I mean, apart from what you see here, he thought that, you know, it could be on a much bigger platform and we could touch a lot more people with the story in there. And so I'm very grateful to him, and I'm also happy that I listened. None of the actors could be here. Jocelyn wanted to be here, but she's stuck in Nigeria. We went to the AMVCAs this weekend. We got a lot of nominations for this movie. We didn't win, but I'm proud to say that we got a lot of recognition for it. But she really wishes that she could be here. She co-produced this movie. I also like to say a big thank you to Gena West, my partner in crime, Ken. 10 years of all the gossip when it comes to, you know, all my women's stuff. So I keep on asking him stuff, and one time he said, you know, you're going to turn me into one of the girls. Yeah. So we've shown this movie across board. It's yet to show in Nigeria. We're very excited about it. I think it starts showing in Nigerian cinema on the 20th of March. But I want to take this opportunity to say a big congratulations to every single woman here. We are magicians, you know. We embody so much, and like Haile over there, it's not black and white. You know, there are a lot of gray areas, and for me, that's the kind of story I wanted to tell. I just didn't want to tell a superwoman story. I also wanted to tell a story about a woman who has flaws, evidently. A woman who has her weaknesses but also has her strengths, who needs love, like we all do, and needs the support of our men. And I hope that I was able to do that. So thank you very much, and keep the questions coming.
And I believe Shirley did that and a lot more. Thank you so much for the inspiration. I learned a lot again from this movie, and I'll take it away with me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just right that at this moment we have a panel to discuss a few things concerning HIV/AIDS and the power of a woman. I'll invite my co-MC for tonight, the delectable Anita Erskine, to take over from this point.
Oh, ladies, come on, the men are not here. Hello! You know, it's just, Shirley, let me tell you a little secret about Ken and I. But, Ken, where are you? Ken, do you remember the time when 2007? Oh, 2007, yeah? And I'm going to tell just a quick story just to show how International Women's Day is not just about the women. It's also about the men who really do support our quest to be these all-rounded women. I remember Ken and I used to work for an agency, and he was having issues. He's a super creative guy. He really wanted the freedom to operate, and he was a bit boxed in. But essentially, he left and I left, and I think the first movie I saw his name on would have been, not Adam's Apple, the one with Majid, and Jocelyn was in it, and Sting in the Tail. Then of course Adam's Apple came, and my husband just can't stand it when I bring it home, because then we can't share the TV. But listen, thank you so much. Outside of such a beautiful movie, there's also a perfect example of a relationship in which the woman is very powerful in terms of what she does and what she wants to accomplish. The man may just be a little bit more powerful, depending on who you are. But in order, I feel, and Shirley, correct me if I'm wrong, in order for Shirley to be this super Pan-African director that everybody is bowing to now, I think she has found the right partner in crime to kind of push those dreams outside of her head and outside of her heart into the rest of our lives. So listen, Ken, a round of applause. And today I was asked why International Women's Day and International Women's Month is so important. And I said, oh my, yes, powerful woman, whatever it is. They asked me, do you women really want equality? I said, listen, equality and empowerment depends on who you are. In my definition, equality and empowerment means the choice to have what I want, if I want it. So for example, I could be the CEO of a corporate institution, if I want. I might just not want to take it at a certain time because I might fall pregnant, or I might want to start a family, or whatever it is. But the equality means I'm not trying to do your work, because God created everybody to do their work. But the equality, basically, and the empowerment is knowing in your head that if you really, really, really wanted it, is yours for the taking. So ladies, a wonderful, wonderful welcome to you. We're going to be having a discussion not just about the movie that we just saw, but also about the power of a woman, really. What does it mean to be a very powerful woman? Do you embrace your failures as they come along? Does a powerful woman mean that you just stand behind a really powerful man and you control him like a joystick, which some of us do, and it's absolutely fine? Does a powerful woman mean you stand on public platforms and you scream equality? I remember in 1995, I won't tell you how old I was, because then you'll know how old I am now. But I remember Auntie Nana Konadu, I remember she wearing her kaban slit and going to Beijing. I remember that vividly because it was such a big deal. And our fathers and our uncles would sit around the table drinking star beer, cracking unnecessary jokes. At the time, I laughed a little because it was a little funny. Then I started getting older and I realized, wait, hang on a second, these women, 20 years ago, did what women prior to that had never done before. They went to the United Nations and said, listen, women do deserve to be treated equally. Well, thank you very much for that, because today I can fight for a CEO role if I want to. And then I've got children who are coming up. I've got a daughter and a son. And they need to also understand that the world belongs to all of us. And men, we love you. You know we love you, right? Some of the men are not smiling, but really. We love you. But all we're saying is for Africa to move forward, we gave you guys decades and decades and decades. You were able to do a lot, but we feel that with us, we can do more. So in this discussion, I'll be talking to you, Juliet Tawakli, who is the Blissful Ambassador 2014, Madam. Sister Juliet, come along. Dr. Juliet, are you about to eat? But I thought you don't eat after 7. She's on the panel as well, is she? Do you want to start? Fine. And then I've got Madam Shirley. Shirley, please don't eat. So, as Berla said, the movie is a great movie. It's wonderful. But what the movie does is it opens up for more discussion, which we're going to do right now.
You do not call a male or female Nana auntie or brother. So it will be Nana Konadu Rawlings.
Oh, that's one. That one was auntie.
There's that. Okay, but still on that issue where you were talking about how Shirley and her partner in crime, the story about Shirley and her partner in crime. It's funny you brought it up and you mentioned Nana Konadu Rawlings. It's just 2 weeks ago, a couple of friends and I were saying how, and at the risk of sounding political, I'm not trying to be political, but how we said that for those of us who grew up with Yvonne Rawlings and her husband, they're the only couple who publicly show love, who show them together publicly. And I think that it goes to show that it is possible to do it in Africa, where it's not fashionable to be seen as a couple. And I think that we all know, those of us who are married know, marriages and relationships are not straightforward. But they suck it up and they're always there. And was one thing a lot of us admire. We don't see that anymore these days. And that probably could be the reason why a lot of people's marriages are not working. But we're not talking about that today, are we? I think that we, as a people, when it comes to education and learning, we think it must be limited to the classroom. And that is where our problems stem from. Learning is a continuous process, and especially with children, you don't even want it to happen in the classroom. You want for it to happen outside, because when you use examples outside, is what reinforces what they learn in the classroom. Let's also not forget that children tend to see learning as a chore. Sit in the classroom, cramming numbers, and whatever you know. So if you wanted to teach children about sexual reproduction or sexual health, I say don't do it in the classroom. I say do it as a field trip, for example. Take them to a hospital. Obviously, once you've done all the checks and the parents are okay, take them to a hospital and let them actually see what it means to go through probably what we saw in the movie. I mean, I've never seen an HIV positive patient before, because again, in our culture, we're overly protected. And so if one walked up to me, I wouldn't know what again, there's no one look. Because there were two people who were meant to have HIV, but one looked better than the other. I think that it's our attitude as a people towards some topics we call taboo topics, and sexual reproduction and sexual health is one of them. As we saw, Fale's husband, finding it so hard to deal with it, and its repercussions. And I think that I've said that as a generation, I think we've lost the plot, but it would behoove on us to ensure that our younger ones, we need to try and lose ourselves. It's not about us. We're protecting our younger ones. So if the conversation about sex does come up, even if it does not come up, you must find it, because they are exposed to it in one way or the other. We're all sitting here thinking, oh, they're young, they're children, but my 9-year-old niece knows how to navigate the internet more than I do. So I say that it's more of an attitudinal problem, and with attitudinal problems, it takes a whole lot of work to change it.
Dr. Juliet, I mean, listen, I know you deal with little tiny rugrats, kids, and on the face level, or just on the surface, it will look like you're just a pediatrician. But I would like to go into the psychoanalytic aspect of dealing with kids at that age. What we saw in the movie, as Eugenia said, is two adults not knowing how to communicate what was happening. As mothers, some of us mothers-to-be, some of us already mothers, what kind of power can the woman have, or how can she exercise her power on nurturing her children and bringing them up in a way that they are not fearful of, for example, learning about HIV, or even one day trying to figure out whether they have HIV or not?
Well, you can't talk about HIV without talking about sexuality. And one of the major problems I find as a pediatrician, as a women's activist, is that in Africa, many of our women are not encouraged to own their sexuality. We talk about reproductive health, we talk about physical health, we talk about mental health sometimes. Sexual health? So, for a mother to introduce the topic of sexual health, she herself has to know herself well enough to understand her own sexual health, her own sexual being, her own sexuality, and hopefully have a partner, be she married to a partner or not, who respects that and supports that and nurtures that. And I think that the real strength of a woman is when she's able to claim that as part of the other parts of her being. And with all due respect, Nana, I think you have done that. I call such women evolved women. And I think when they become mothers, it shows in the way they treat their children. They bring up their girls as they do their boys with a sense of aspiration, an aspiration for roles, experiences, accomplishments, because they can move from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness. I love what you said about just learning constantly throughout life. I've worked with this women's issues for nearly 4 decades. But it's taken me nearly 4 decades to stop thinking of myself as someone's daughter, someone's mother, someone's sister, someone's anything. I am someone. You know, it's that final break from the cultural innuendos that we grow up with. And I think I'm proud to say I've raised 2 very strong women. I think in the process of trying to find my own being. So I think it is around the issue of sexuality. We have to really fight for our sexuality. We have to make sure that sexual health becomes part of what every physician is comfortable discussing. And in that conversation, HIV is not a problem. It's just part of talking about sexual health.
Shirley, would this story have been any different if you had flipped the roles? If you had made the husband the one that contracted HIV? Would the story have changed? Would the moral have changed?
I say a big yes, it would have. Because naturally, women, because of our motherly instincts, and it doesn't matter how old or young we are, we're very protective of our men, and it seems as if it's actually when they're in trouble that we want to be more protective, we want to be there, we want to prove ourselves. So I see this story going in a totally different way if I was telling it from the point of view of a man. For me, I'm also raising a son, so I'm beginning to understand the man from a totally different perspective. Yes. So I think that's it. But most importantly, I'd like to use this opportunity to say 2 things here. The first thing for me is there was one woman in this room who sort of helped shape me, my thinking as a young girl when I was growing up. And it's because of what I saw of her, how she conducted herself. And even though her husband was a very strong man, she was never, ever in the shadows. And I'm talking about Konadu Rawlings. It was, every time she came, I'm serious, every time she came, with her kaba and her headgear, I was thinking, my God, she is a strong woman. And there's this big man, but how is it that she can still shine through him? Like, it was amazing, and I have to say a big thank you. Growing up was, for me, I looked on to a few things, and I have to say, I look forward to seeing her. I completely look forward to seeing her. The second thing also is support. I think we as women, and I still feel like we've got a long way to go when it comes to that. We need to support ourselves. We need to support our own. We really need to. I don't think we're doing enough, honestly. I mean, there are times when you see articles about women in the media, women in politics, and some of the comments, some of the most vicious comments are coming from fellow women. And I'm thinking, we're being judged harshly already. You know, I mean, if a woman is raped or abused, you know, there's this whole talk about she probably brought it upon herself. And then it's even more heartbreaking when you find other women sort of supporting it. And, you know, this thing they say about we are our own downfall, it needs to change. So for me, I think that we need a much bigger voice when it comes to women and how we push each other. Because if the way we're sitting in this room and when we're talking and it feels like, you know, we're standing where we're going, if we spread it and took it out of this room, I think that we probably have a much better country than we do today.
Much better country, much better world. Thank you very much. And it is so nice that Shirley said that, because I remember I had this fantastic corporate job. I absolutely loved. Your body will change over 9 months. Those of you little ones, they're like, oh, Caroline, baby, be a for 1 or 2. Your body will change. Things will happen. But on that note, Dr. Juliet, because you've been working with a lot of women, psychologically, what are you finding is the main problem when it comes to women striving to be a lot more than society is allowing them to be?
I think Shirley got right in what she said. It's lack of self-confidence, it's lack of an inner self-confidence. And that's the result of many, many, many things. And, you know, what you described is really just the resentments that women have towards other women when they feel they're stepping out of the box or stepping out into something they wish they could do, which they could do really, but they just don't see themselves as being capable of doing. And the resentment that they therefore sort of lobby at you as their response, instead of saying, go for it, sister, I'm very proud of you, you know, can I join you? You know, it's very few women, and I use this word evolved a lot, you know, people who know me, because there are so few people who, so few women who have evolved to really see beyond themselves and recognize it's not about us in any ways. We're part of a larger tribe that needs to work together and move together. And, you know, until you can get that, you're not going anywhere. You just are not going anywhere. No, seriously, come on. And one of the things that I do see in my job is the sad tragedy of wasted lives, wasted potential. You know, so much waste, so much waste.
Eugenia, do we have any questions from you ladies? Yes? Okay, so I'll come to you. Just give me two minutes. Just before we finish on the panel discussion, and then I'll come to you if you have any questions for any of the panelists or for me. Eugenia, describe a major challenge as a woman. How you pulled yourself out of that. And even before you answer, the reason I'm asking this is, let's just take it back to the movie for a minute. A major weakness was love. Women, we fall in love so easily. Becca, have you loved before? Your heart has been broken before? Lots of times. Hey, no, but on 5 times? On a more serious note, sometimes I think that women, we are, that's why I think we call us the weaker sex, because everything more, I'm in love with him. Caroline, I didn't say you that, but in the movie, so obviously Jocelyn's character falls in love. She has her heart broken because she loses him, you know, to death. But she also does what a lot of women are unable to do. She empowers herself and she goes right back to the husband who actually cast her out, to the extent of having a child. Describe how you, as an individual, have had to fight against anything, the kinds of challenges you faced, and why today it has empowered you.
It's got to be in the past, right? The challenge.
It could have happened this afternoon.
Well, let me see. I don't recall any relationship challenges as we saw in the movies. I've been a tomboy from the get-go. I grew up with boys, you know. You dump me and brush it off. Or I dump you and brush it off and I move on. But I'm a big baby. I am a big baby. But I think that I want to talk about a challenge I am facing because I think it's important. I was having a talk last Saturday and I said it's always important that we let the younger ones see how challenging it is in the field to find ourselves. So it's not all glam because we're glammed up sitting here. We probably have sat here with major challenges facing us. So I've been running my charity that promotes education for about 8 years now. And as a policy, we work with only women. I mean, we have women, we have more women employees, residents, and then we work with male teachers. Simple reason being that we work with young students and more girls as we do literacy programs. And the girls who are about 13 look as big as me, you know, and we just don't want to create any tension. And we want parents to be comfortable when they leave their children with us. So we work with women. And in the last 13 months, I've lost all the women. I've lost the women to marriage. I've lost them to childbearing. I have one of my clients threatening that if you don't fix your HR problem, we're going to lose you as well. And the HR problem here is that you cannot run an organization with only women. This was like 2 weeks ago when I got that final one. It was like it couldn't have been come at a worse time because as I sit here, and I'm not painting a pitiful picture because I've got help, but as I sit here, a company that I built 8 years ago with about 6 regular staff, women only, I'm the only one sat in the office now with volunteers because I've lost the women to family life. And so my godfather I consult with says, I told you from the get-go, if you work with only women, it's going to happen one day. I said, I know, but it was a risk I was willing to take. And it worked for 8 years, and it got me where I am today. And if you ask me, yes, I started looking to hire more people, and I'm still asking for women. I don't have anything against men, it's not personal, but I think that to want to say that because of the uniqueness of women, the fact that they go through childbearing phases, and so we should not hire them, or we should not be working with them, I think is unfair. I think it's inhumane. They're going to have children who are going to make up a workforce. So why should we use that against them? You know, and nobody seems to see where I'm coming from because everybody has believed that I always come up with radical Mashoyism, is what they say. I'm a sucker for pain. But I believe, once I believe in something, I believe in it. And again, as I say, before 13 months ago, I had a full house with women who were working, and we've come a very long way. These are the challenges when you're running, so I'm running an NGO, these are the challenges that you will grapple with. And it's a policy I'm never walking away from. I will work with majority of women. I have one child, I worked till the day I had my child. I do concede that not every woman can be in that position, but the fact that a woman would have children eventually should not be a reason why we should think they're more of a liability than an asset. Women are assets. I was telling my group of young girls I spoke to on Saturday that if you think that we're all of us sat here, I stand corrected, all of us sat here have been molded by a woman. We've been molded by a woman. We have no business disrespecting women. None whatsoever. In one way or the other, the fact that you are here means a woman had everything to do with your being. And so for that matter, we must protect our women, defend them. Defend them, even when it seems it's not right. Defend them. Because women are an asset. Period. Not even to a nation. Women are an asset. Period. Dot.
My name is Fatima. I'm a very proud Kenyan, and I'm sure my other Kenyans are over there at the back. I come from the same continent, Africa being the last continent on this planet to make any change. And quite frankly, it's a little astonishing that we're in 2015 and we still refer to ourselves as the weaker sex. We're not. One, we're not a sex. Two, we are a human. Three, sorry to the men, you came out of life from it, and half your life you're dying to get back into it, okay? And most importantly, and this is to every woman that's a mother here, who's going to be a mother, honestly put your hands on your heart and, say the truth. We're so busy trying to make our daughters strong. What is this strong? We're always saying they've got to be strong, they've got to be this, we've got to be that. Honestly, I'm one of the biggest victims, but that's only because I have a daughter and I don't have a son. But we're so busy sending them for taekwondo, we want them to learn football, we want them to be on the swimming team, we want them to be on everything. Can we honestly put our hands on our hearts and say that we tell our boys it's okay to do the same things that girls do? We wouldn't be in a situation like this, whether it's HIV or whether it's rape, if we started getting our boys to start understanding that within them, they have a female. That we tell them it's okay to cry, it's okay to be soft. But what do we do as Africans? You put on a leotard and you try and go and do ballet, God, you're gay. It isn't that. It's about trying to get our boys to understand that they came out of us, and it's very important for them to be in touch with that reality before it's too late. So it's high time we sort of changed the way things are seen. It's high time that we stop crying foul, and it's high time that women understand that we, at no point in time, are marginalized. For every woman that is sitting there, for Shirley, for all the women that I know, for you to be there means you did have the power within. All you did was realize your potential and moved on, okay? And men, unfortunately, get stuck into only one position. And it's only a matter of power, it's only a matter of control. And as we know, women are the only people and the only beings that are connected in every aspect. We do not do things without relating it to anything. Whether it's a fight in the office, we know the relation it has with something to do with work, and something to do with someone, and something back to do with home. But men do things in compartments. Okay? So just very similar to what was happening in the movie, before he started going cheating on his wife, he pushed the drawer back in of being a husband and pulled the drawer out of being this man who wanted to probably go and have a fling, fulfilling guilt that his wife had HIV. But you look at the woman, she was interconnected in every way. She was still a married woman, she was still having the love of her life, didn't sleep with him, but in every way, even though she wanted to separate it, she couldn't. And she still became a bigger person. So my plea as Africans, and again, as the only planet that's left to do anything better than any of the other continents that are there, can we be the first continent to say that, you know what, we're going to make our sons a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more in touch with their feminism.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to find out what kind of policy the speaker had for the staff. Because I think that
women are supposed to get married and have children. Isn't that what we say? So they are going to have children, and they'll have to look after the children. So as a woman establishing an organization, what kind of policies did you put in place to ensure that they can go and have their children and come back, and that they may not lose out of a lot of things? Because I've heard a lot of people say that when you're pregnant, you don't get promoted, when you're this, and so on and so forth. See, I think, first of all, I also want to say that, please, Africa, we are doing a lot. All of us here. So there's a lot of good things happening in Africa for women. And I'm proud to be here today. And you remember the workshop that we had. Women are in all sort of, enterprises. They have their own businesses and so on. There's a lot happening in Africa. People should come and learn. And on the other side too, I think 3 days ago, we have women physicists in Ghana, nuclear, this, satellite, that, this. I think it was only yesterday. Exactly. So you see, women have proven that they can do a lot by themselves. And if they feel like getting married, so be it. And if they feel like having children, so be it. And they feel that they don't want either, so be it. It's their choice. It's their choice. And I want to support what she said about bringing up children. I can put my hand on my heart and say that, yes, my son can cook. And he cooks for his wife. It doesn't make him less of a man. You see, I think some of us here are very religious. Okay? And we believe in God. Is there anybody who doesn't believe in God? Okay. Now, is he bigger than everybody? Is he mightier? Is he wiser? So when God says you have the talent to dig graves and you're a woman, is he wrong? He gives the talents. So somebody was giving a talent to sweep. And when they sweep, no challenge. Somebody is an astronaut, and she's a woman. Somebody is an engineer, she's a woman, doctor, lawyer. I think we have all of it. Dancer, singer, sweeper, climber. We have all. And yet we consistently behave as if we don't have anything. Now, who started doing economics at 8? All of you. You were managing it in the house. Who was doing surgery at 8, 10, 11? We were. You think that doing surgery on a chicken is not surgery? It is. We know where the bile is, where the heart is, and we separate them. Right? So we were surgeons before we went to school. And we were doing physics. You know what temperature is? And how you have to wait for the water to get to a certain temperature before you put the chicken and the thing in it. That's physics for you. You are doing maths. Volume. Huh? 1 pepper, 1 oil, 1 sugar. Maths. Chemistry. That's what we were doing. And yet, as soon as we leave the house and get into school, oh, don't do this, it's not for women. Don't do that, it's not. And yet you were doing it before you got there. Now, how many of you haven't done human resource management? Who are doing it at home? You are looking after your siblings, shining their knees, their dirty knees after football, both girls and boys, You do all this, and then when you say, I want to be an HR manager, it's too tough. So you see, it's called brainwashing. It's propaganda and brainwashing that is causing the problem. And unfortunately, sometimes we buy it. And then we start living accordingly. And that's where our problem lies. We are men, we are women, we're all created by God, we're all given talents. Why can't they use their talents? And we should not. So I think that I am nowhere near God. I mean, if he tries to look for me, he will even see me. So how dare me tell myself that if he's giving me a talent to do something, a human being should tell me I cannot use that talent. So I think you should all congratulate yourselves for believing in God and glorifying Him by using the talent that He gave you. You should be proud of yourselves. And we should not be deterred. Men should be our partners. Men should be our partners. And we should be their partners. One hand can clap. But not let us push it so hard.
I see more men trying to encourage me and pulling me along, but I rather see my fellow women pulling me back. And you know, whatever we have become or the world has become, I say that women are the greatest contributions to what the world is today, because it is we that raise the men as well as the women. Because as far as I am concerned, God has given us all the opportunity and all the power we need to be who we are. It was only once that a woman came out of a man, and that was the beginning of creation. But when things went wrong and God wanted to make things right, He didn't need a man. He needed just one woman. So whatever power we need to change the world is in our hands. But how do we encourage our fellow women in the organizations of where we are? I mean, are we pulling them along or are we discouraging them? It's just what I want to put.
Just like myself, I've actually been trying to meet a few of the ladies here, the young. My question is to Eugenie. Great. I wanted to ask, are we singers allowed to be volunteers as well? And
that's it.
No, not more time. Okay. And if we are, I would like to be a part of what you do, because I believe in supporting women. And every time, I think we all get up and the question or our issue is women are still supporting each other. And I believe this is a platform for all of us to, after this network, see how we are going to be able to support each other, contribute, collaborate as musicians with each other. This has been pending for a long time, and it is true. I've realized that even the female singers, we have no collaborations here. I cannot even, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking who and who have done a song, and I'm thinking I'm going to be doing one with her, because she's an Indian singer. And if we're going to be doing it, we might as well start doing it now. It's now or never. And another thing, we must support each other. When Shirley said that at the beginning, I was like, let me just take the mic and speak, because really, we do not support each other as women, especially, I don't know if it's just in Ghana, but I think everywhere, really. It's about time that we support each other. Let's be each other's keeper. There's nothing, in a tradition, you say, prior way, we back one and so cover my book. And saying, let's come together, be each other's keepers, support each other, love each other. And let's make this work as women. God bless you all. Thank you.
Yeah. But of course, Becca, and anyone here who wants to volunteer, I love to work. I love to have people like you come, because, as you know, I meet a lot of young children who say, I want to become a fashion designer, I want to be in entertainment, or the arts, but my parents think it's not a respectable job. But I think. Went with them before, and I think we're looking to work with VIP. But I would love to work with you, because the children get what we tell them better when you are around. They don't listen to us. Because normally when we're standing in front of them, they only see teachers. But when you are there, the message is clearer. So yeah, we'd love you to volunteer. And thank you.
Sorry, Stephanie and Ofie. Oh, honey, you don't leave so soon.
But I would mention your name. Stephanie, I saw you pulling Opie with you.
The top 5 to 10 female singers in Ghana, right now in this room. There's Luella. There's Kokui Selormey. There's Becca, African girl. There's Gena West, Chen Chen. There's Stephanie Benson Sumi.
Opie, what's your hit?
the hit song. But ladies, on a more serious note, we have some of the most powerful women in here. And Becca, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. And I missed it. I almost missed it. But we're hoping that, yes, indeed, from here, it's not just an International Women's Day dinner and, you know, rub shoulders, but you women will take the conversation outside of here. Oh, Caroline, the rapper. Isn't that why you got your hand up? Sorry. Outside of here. Caroline, before you speak, I know I'm bad. Gena West.
You know, this is very quick. I just want everyone, I'm so sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Ask a question. Does anybody here feel marginalized? Exactly. So I personally don't know what we're talking about. Okay? We're women, we all have our strengths, of course we have our weaknesses, just like men. Okay? And so it's just a matter of knowing who you are, what your calling is, what you've been called to do. And if anybody ever doubted you, I think somebody mentioned that earlier, if somebody doubted you, well, you know what? That's the best thing they ever did, because that's what will drive you to succeed. Okay, so you take that and you use it and you work with it and you make sure you bring out the best in yourself. And for me, here, this is fabulous. We're gathering here to say, whoa, women, we're fabulous. We've got all this strength, this power within us. I think that's what we need to remember. Do you know what my husband said to me when I said I'm going to a women's thing? He said, well, baby, over 100 years ago, they decided they were going to celebrate women, okay? International Women's Day, or whatever it is. The UN made it, I think, Girmay, was it in 1975 that it became the first celebration of International Women's Day? Something like that. But anyway, he said, what, still? You guys are still doing this sort of thing, talking about this sort of thing? Just do stuff. Just go and do stuff. Unite and do stuff. So I just want to say, you know what? We're all women, we're fabulous, men are fabulous too. We're just human beings. Just do the best that you can. That's what I'm saying.
You know that there's going to be a problem. I mean, there is a problem after you give them a chance. I mean, initially they will say that they're okay, you can do whatever you're doing. Then after a while in the relationship, they seem to have a problem with how you're going, the things you're doing. You're a woman, just relax, be cool, chill, all that. So for me, I just want to know, because I know there's really never like an ending point, you know, to how far you can go. So with us who are not married and really want to marry someday, I have a child but I'm not married, and I'm waiting to get married. But is it okay to just lower your standards sometimes? Because I realize that most of the guys that come are intimidated so much, and then maybe you two, those ones that are way above you, some of them are already married, so you know there's no chance. And those who are also not married, you have some attitude that is just, that stinks. And you know you can't. So those ones that you end up falling for are the ones that you're way above. And you also don't want to go down that way. Yeah, like it's a bit confusing to me. And I'm just want to know if it's okay to just know why you stand sometimes and be with it. Because you know there might also be pressure after you get in. Or you just stick to, you know, your standard and say, if you're not here with me, then there's no relationship whatsoever. It's really crazy, but yeah.
Caroline, I think I get you. Shirley, you may go, please.
Okay. First and foremost, you don't ever lower your standards. What you have to do, a man will love you, and you know, if you're yourself. If he wants you to lower your standards, then he's not the one for you. Because, look, a lot of us here have very supportive men. And they allow us to take the limelight and they let us shine. So find that man who will let you shine. Any man who wants you to lower your standards, please. No. It's not even, we shouldn't even talk about it. It's, no. You get it? No.
I will go even further and say, if you want to become a mother, go ahead and become a mother. Then you can find a husband.
Caroline. But I have somebody for you, though, honey. Sally, you have a question from you? Okay, that will be our last question for that, and then you can take it from there. You know, our time. Go ahead.
Already from my elder ones, and I want to ask a question as a younger one, and this is very personal to me. It's an experience I'm going through. Now, I've been dating for 6 years now, And I'm at the point in my life where my man says we should get married in a couple of months, some few months from now. Now, where I am right now, I feel like in my career, I am almost getting there. You know, I've worked so hard, and you know, like I'm seeing things happening now, and I feel like probably if I get married now, I'm an only child first of all, and I want to have as many children as I can. So I would want to start making babies already. So I think to myself now, do I go ahead and get married and start a family, and that will put my career to a halt? Or should I get established before I eventually get married? And then I don't even know if the man can actually wait for me. So this is my dilemma, and I need help. I need advice from my only one.
This is a movie. Shirley will come to a halt. That's what you think. Should I go ahead and get married and put everything aside, or what do you
want?
Sally, what do you want?
What do you want? I think if I can have both, then have it. You can do everything. There are women here who have had 5 kids, and they've achieved so much. You can do everything. I think first and foremost, what you need is that you need to find a partner. You need to find a partner. You need to find somebody who will work with you. You know, a man who partners you in your career, who's your friend, who challenges you, who critiques you, who allows you to be yourself. Getting married and having a baby, it's just part of you being your woman and you getting to where you're going. So yeah, you take some time off, you come back. It should be like that. I think this.
Sadly, well, I'm happy you asked that question, because I find that in our generation, I'm not that much older, so it's our generation, getting married and having children. But there's something my mother said to me when I had the same fears as you, and by this time it was slightly too late for me because I was about 5 months pregnant. And she said, you know what, Anita? Women can have every single thing they want in the world. The only thing is you can't have it all at the same time. But you can have it. Depending on what kind of woman you are, you can work like Eugenia to the day when you're having a baby. Depending on what kind of woman you are, you need to have a baby. But at that point, you are sacrificing bringing another human being into the world. And it's part of where you're going, as Shirley said. It's part of that big story that you tell eventually. And believe it or not, children are indeed the pride of every single woman. We are the only gender in the world that can bring forth children. Your husband, your boyfriend will never be able to, even if the best scientist works on you. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think that if you really love him, explain to him what you're trying to accomplish. Like Shirley says, he will agree to what you're trying to accomplish if he is the right partner for you. If he isn't, like I said to Caroline, I also have something to do.
The number of female students in the University of Ghana, no matter how hard you try to organize programs for them to empower them, you still stay in their rooms. So sometimes I ask myself, what is compelling them not to come out? What is preventing them from taking up these challenging tasks that our men are doing? And no, I have my own reservation, but I also want to ask Eugenia what she thinks about it, what the problem is. And secondly, it's beautiful to see all of us seated here. My next question is, after here, what happens? There are a number of children in JSS, SHS, I think they need what we are doing here. I feel there is nobody here who would say I'm not empowered, or there is nobody here who feels she is disempowered. So after here, what message are we sending across? You go to a place like the northern region and central Gonja. We go for a volunteering work, and then you speak to the ladies and are like, I want to become a doctor. And they ask you, why are you still in the university? What are you still doing in the university? What else? I mean, what do you really want to become then? As at now, as at this stage, you are still in the university, you are not thinking of getting married. They don't know what is happening. And when you ask them, which female leader do you know? They say they don't know anybody. The only person they know is Muhammad. the President Muhammad. So it means that there are lots of things we are doing in this country, and those at the grassroots level do not know about. So if there is anything for us to do, I think we should start from there. Thank you very much.
Comfort zone, which would be their room or whatever it is, and take challenges in the world. Basically, is that what it is? And how do you do that? Is what you want to do.
I think how I would do that, okay, because I'm not in your shoes. But I think how I will do that is lead by example. So, for example, you were saying that what we're doing here today should go beyond here. There's some SHS girls who, so you go for it. You go find those girls you're talking about and help them. And then when you're going, just call a few friends, I need you to help me do this. Or I found out about these girls, we need 100 CDs to take them on a field trip. You are roping them in gradually. Okay, but I think that if like one of my colleagues said on the panel, that it's not about you, it's not about me. So when the opportunity comes and you take it, think of the 20 other people who probably do not have a voice. You are their voice. You become that person's role model. Step up to the plate. You may be surprised that even your peers who are not coming out is because they probably don't have the confidence. You seem like you do, and I'm talking to you personally. You seem like you do. Go for it. You decide that I will start projects and I will rope you my friends in. If you're not coming along, you're really not my friend. You start knowing who your true friends are. Your true friends should be helping you do things you believe in. Once you start, you become an agent of change. You will be influencing your friends and the younger girls. And guess what? You're creating a circle, is what you're doing, and it keeps moving. One person from there will do this, and they'll ask you the same question you're asking me, and you will tell them, you do it, you start it. Yeah?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Very, very great question. Bella?
On Mrs. Cynthia Lumon, Corporate Services Executive of MTN, to give us a few words.
Who said, I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Who doesn't agree with him? I'm sure you all do. Because as women, we take on so many roles. A lot of us work full-time outside the home and full-time inside the home. Take care of family, our husbands, kids, extended family, sick relatives. We do all that. And we try to do all that well. And you know, when I was watching the movie, there were two things that I really liked. The first was that Shirley chose someone who no one would ordinarily think of as having HIV. Someone who could easily be any of us in this room. A beautiful young lady, a doctor, freshly married, paradise at home, and suddenly she has AIDS, she has HIV. And that really, you know, it gives us a lesson about safe sex, about, you know, how to react to some of these things, relationships and all that. The other thing I liked about the movie, especially as a woman, and I was telling the other ladies I was sitting with at the table, was Asantewaa. And Shirley was right. Each of us needs a friend like Asantewaa. And I've been listening to almost everybody who has spoken so far this evening, has talked about how we need to support each other as women and so on. And it just keeps striking me. We do talk a lot about this. It's not the first time I've been to a function where, or a gathering where we are talking about how women pull each other down and how we don't support each other and so on. But it's women who say this, it's not men. We say it ourselves, and yet we do nothing about it. And what I liked about Asantewaa was that she was a friend both in the happy times and when Kwale was in trouble. Remember when Kwale went to church and suddenly Asantwa was sitting behind her and she said, I have a confession. I've been following you because I was afraid you were going to do something stupid. That is the essence of supporting one another. It's not just about talking about it. So it's my hope that when we leave this room, all this talk about being empowered and supporting each other, as women, we take it into our daily life. So it's about being the best that we can be in whatever field we choose. Whether we choose to be a hairdresser or a dressmaker or a plumber or a carpenter, a technician, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a quantity surveyor, a singer, whatever we choose to do, it's about being the best that we can be at it. And for some of us in our roles as leaders, it's about setting a good example for others, about being the kind of leaders who can, who have an open door, to whom younger ones, subordinates, peers can walk into your office or call you on the phone and talk about the problem they have or something they want to celebrate. I thank you for listening. And I hope that we all go out and support one another as women. Thank you very much.
So many amazing women and so many men who love amazing women. So thank you very much. Thank you, Girmay, for organizing this and for inviting me. I've really learned a lot. I love the film. Very inspiring. Thank you. I was thinking about something that happened this morning. The UN is having a workshop about gender mainstreaming and about auditing our own work and how we affect women. It's a normal UN kind of thing to do. But the facilitator started out this morning having everybody around the room share one aha moment when they realized something about gender discrimination, something in their lives. And it was amazing to hear how many people talked about something from their childhood or from raising children. That moment when a brother was treated differently from a sister, or when a father realized something when holding a baby daughter, about how much he wanted that woman to rule the world just as much as his sons. But it was amazing because there were good stories, but because in 10 minutes, everybody around the room was a family. Because we'd all shared some kind of this experience of realizing what it means to empower women and what it means when women are held back. And it was an amazing experience that we all tried to bring into the work that we do and the work that you tried to do, bringing in from your own experience. And it was lovely to see that in the film, and I really appreciated that. So I thank you very much. I thank Girmay. I really look forward to getting to know many of you. I've only been here 2 months, so I appreciate the opportunity to meet many wonderful people tonight. And I really applaud you for the work that you are doing in your own individual talents and for the commitment you have to support each other. It's beautiful to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now we move on to the former First Lady of Ghana, Her Excellency Nana Konadu Rawlings.
I think we've all had a lot said about women today. There's not much that I can add except to say that as women, it's always important to look at yourself and ask yourself what you want to do in life. You've got to have a passion. You've got to have ambition. And I keep telling the young people, don't let anybody tell you that ambition is bad, because ambition is good. Excessive ambition is even good. So have some ambition, but let your passion be in your stomach. Feel it. And that passion should then drive you to do what you want to do. Don't look at somebody and think, she didn't make it, so I'm not going to try. No. She didn't make it, so what? I'm trying, and I'm going to make it. And encourage each other. Do encourage each other. I've been saying this for 32 years, I think I'm even boring. But please, it's a passion. let it be in you, push it to the limit, and get to your destination, because you can't make it. I know we can make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Always been looking young anyway. And as a young woman, we're always usually worried about people's perception about us, especially for those of us in the industry, entertainment industry. You're always worried about how people will criticize you because you got something wrong here and you probably wore the wrong dress to this event or any of that. But starting from today, I think a lot of us will realize that what people think of us is not necessary. It's what we think of ourselves and what we think we deserve to become. And so I'm guessing to all the ones they call the young ones here, we'll call on the Second Lady of Ghana, Her Excellency, Mrs. Matilda Amisah-Attah.
Thank you. Good evening. I've known Nana Konadu for a long time, a very, very long time. We've had good times together. Our kids have played together. I really know her, you know. She's a strong woman. She's always been strong. And she's always had a voice for women and girls and children. Let's give her a clap. It's amazing to have this range of women in this room tonight. When I saw the lists, I was just shown the list, and as I went around and chatted with people, I realized that it was such a good mix. So, why are we worried? What are we talking about? If in this room, there can be such a mix, and we can enjoy ourselves, watch a film, have a discussion, chat, pat each other on the back, encourage each other, we don't have any problem, do we? No. And when we go out, we shouldn't have a problem. We shouldn't have a problem. If you have a problem, it's your own doing. Find somebody. You can get somebody you can talk to. You can find somebody you can love. You can find somebody who can encourage you. Be it an Asantua or a Bali, you can find one. You know, in certain times of our lives, we need an Asantua. It's not always that we need a Bali. In certain times, we need an Asantua. When the going gets tough, you need to smile. You need somebody who, even though can make you annoyed, will put a smile on your face. Somebody who, even if she wraps you up badly with certain attitudes, the fact that she's there for you alone overrides everything. We've had a great night. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, UNAIDS. Thank you, UN. God bless us all. And as we go out, let's remember, be yourself. Aim high, support each other, and love each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And that does it for today. I move on straight to the vote of thanks. And I'd like to thank the UNAIDS, UN Resident Coordinator, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Tourism, AMA, Ghana AIDS Commission, and having all of you here, especially to our dignitaries as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll be having this a lot more. And yes, that's just about it. Again, happy International Women's Day to all of us. Thank you so much, Ida. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. And again, yes, I hope you all enjoy the movie. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
No, they don't say anything to us. I really want to say thank you to Shirley.
Nice to meet you, yes, I listened to her speaking.
When I first came to Ghana, I met the
I know.